Good morning, good evening, and good night, everybody, and welcome back to Actually, the show where we take your popular opinion and sanctimoniously flush it down the toilet with a steaming pile of logic. I am your host, The Insider, and we are continuing with part two of my assessment that Littlefinger, aka the Bale who kidnapped a red haired queen of love and beauty, y'all know what I'm talking about, had a plan the entire time. Now, in the last episode, I laid out all the dirty deets on Littlefinger's direct or indirect involvement in bankrupting the kingdoms, conspiring to have the hand of the king murdered, and, well, conspiring to have the hand of the king murdered. With considerable personal gains, if I may add. Oh, and to the guy in my last video who commented fuck Littlefinger, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like him at first either, but you gotta admire the chess game, my broski. He's basically the only character that any of us normal people could be. I mean, if you think about it, everybody who was an important character was born into privilege. I mean, you could be Varys, I suppose, but no. And maybe you could be one of the freed slaves towards the end of the show, but how'd that turn out for them? Yeah. So sub if you want and comment below, because I'm a responder.
Shall we begin?
So it's quite notable at the beginning of season 2 that Littlefinger offers Renly support. Now, even though Renly died about one or two scenes later after Littlefinger talked to him, it's very important to understand how Littlefinger's trying to formulate his plan. Because at this point, Stannis was not long for the world. He had maybe 4,000 or 4,500 bannermen, and Renly had 100,000. So there was absolutely no way he was going to be able to lose in the field to Stannis. Even Stannis admits this.
My little brother has 100,000 men.
You must have faith.
Faith. In a real war, the side with the greater number wins. I cannot defeat my brother in the field. And I can't take King's Landing without the men he's stolen.
So Littlefinger's using the readily available knowledge and trying to manipulate his way through. Who knows what he'll end up getting from Renly for opening those gates before he comes. Because at this point, yeah, he's got a nice deal with the Lannisters, but if he was to help Renly, he would have a deal with both the Baratheons and the Tyrells. So, I mean, weighing your options, really. In the midst of the chaos, right when Renly dies, Littlefinger immediately springs into action. He brokers the alliance between the Tyrells and the Lannisters. Now, if you'll notice, this was not Tyrion's plan. Tyrion's plan was to try and get Jaime back by using Catelyn Stark, but that ended up being a completely different thing. Littlefinger, right after Renly died, approached both the Lady Marjorie and Loras about what they could do and basically brokered the deal between the Lannisters and the Tyrells. He then, right afterward, went over to Tywin and basically explained that the Tyrells and the Lannisters' purposes were aligned. And so, what's the result of this? He gets Harrenhal, which was snatched from Janos by Tyrion. He destroys Stannis, which is a huge deal because obviously he doesn't want Stannis in the way once again. And now Stannis is further away from the crown than he was in season 1. And now he has an acceptable courtship with Lysa. If you think about it, he just became, I mean, people were calling him Lord Baelish before, but he wasn't really Lord of any holdfast. Now he's the Lord of Harrenhal. And so now he's going to have, quote unquote, Lordship of the Vale that he already had, of course. And he gained some Lannister trust and Tyrell trust. That's about it for season 2. Now, if you'll notice, what Littlefinger does is he set up the chessboard in season 1. So he had moves almost every episode, and he was making moves almost every other scene or every 3 scenes or so. Now, in these seasons, for the most part, he's letting his plans play out, and he only calls audibles when it's absolutely necessary. Now, in season 3, the only thing that Littlefinger does is that he alerts the Lannisters about the Tyrells' plan to steal Sansa. What's the result? Sansa stays in King's Landing. Very important because Littlefinger wants her. and she marries Tyrion, which is going to become important later. It also effectively forces the Cersei and Loras matching, which removes Cersei from King's Landing. But that also might have just been him taking advantage of Tywin's plan. If you'll notice, Tywin was trying to get rid of everybody. He was trying to get everybody out of King's Landing so he could be the de facto king. Which moves us neatly along to season 4. So with the help of the Tyrells, he orchestrates the murder of Joffrey, and he steals Sansa whilst framing Tyrion. Well, Tyrion should have been executed from all this. He didn't count on Jaime letting Tyrion free, apparently, but Tyrion should have been executed, which would have freed Sansa from her marriage bond. But the show makes up some BS about, oh, since Tyrion never consummated the marriage, it's not legal apparently anymore. In the books, it's actually a really big plot point still, because Sansa is under the control of Littlefinger, but he can't marry her off to anybody because Tyrion is still alive, and he's in Meereen. He's also with one of the people that Littlefinger originally hired, but that's neither here nor there. So this is going to be a bit of conjecture. I have surmised that Littlefinger brought Sansa to the Vale on purpose in order to tempt Lysa into rash action. Now he can appear as the hero when he kills Lysa and saves Sansa. He appears like a knight in shining armor. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's like reaching. But let's look into the future of all Littlefinger's plans. All of them required Lysa to be dead. Littlefinger wanted to use Sansa as a marriage bargaining chip. How is that going to be possible if she marries Robin? That doesn't do anything for Littlefinger. He's already Lord of the Vale. Why does he need Robin for? Secondly, he needs to be able to move freely. How is he going to do that if he's stuck in the Vale with Lysa? Lysa's been in the Vale this entire time. The entirety of the show, after, I guess, the first episode, she was in King's Landing before Jon Arryn died, but then she ran back to the Vale on Littlefinger's orders. So now Littlefinger murders Lysa. What's the result? Now he has ultimate power in the Vale, he gets every decision, and he has completely uninhibited control over Sansa. And that's about it. That is how he controlled and orchestrated the war. Of course, after starting this war in the first place. So we know that he has started the war, and we know that he has orchestrated all the alliances that led to the victors of the war. So Littlefinger has been in complete control basically this entire time of most of the events of the Game of Thrones. And in the next episode, we're going to figure out where his plan was leading by diving deep into what Littlefinger's plans were for Sansa. Wow, well, that was another mouthful. If you have made it all the way through, once again, you are a trooper and you deserve a smack in the pooper. If you liked what I had to say, go ahead and drop a like and please subscribe. If you feel like it, go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me what I can do better. Or tell me if you think I'm wrong. That would be fun. I love to answer. In any case, until my next video, this is the Insider signing off. Bye!